In the Bronx, Arian Howard, more commonly known by his rap name Dougie B, would be raised on 187th Street. Arian would have both his parents present in his early years, trying their best to support and keep Arian in school, even though they resided in a rough environment. However, at only the age of 14, his father would take his last breath in front of him and be pronounced dead from a seizure. This further guided Arian down a darker path, such as being away from home, smoking and popping pills, trying to cope with the pain and depression from his father's passing. One thing that would keep him straight was his relationship with a childhood friend, Valana Roberts. Roberts and Howard connected on a different level, with an uplifting energy and calming presence. But this would take a tragic turn. On June 2nd, 2018, Valana Roberts was shot during a fight in the West Farms neighborhood. She later was brought to Barnabas Hospital and pronounced dead. The suspect was later identified and charged for the murder of 17-year-old Valana Roberts. Arian would go on to commemorate the passing of his close childhood friend by getting her name tattooed on his arm.
It's the RP baby. All odds.
After his recent trauma with the passing of his close friend and his father, he would turn to the streets. Arian would become careless and more violent. He would affiliate himself with a gang known as Sev Side 700 DOA, consisting of Crips and Bloods, known to be a dangerous street gang. Even though the actions and route Arian was taking was bad, he still persisted and continued down this dark path. Arian would be deeply involved in the streets, willing to backdoor anyone for something he did not have, or even go to the lengths of extreme violence. Having no father figure to guide him, Arian's mother would pick up on his decisions, seeing the dark, malevolent path her son was going down, and try to put a stop to it, arguing, fighting, and urging him to make the right decisions and go down the right path, or she would kick him out. Only at the age of 16, Arian would be kicked out homeless, knees deep in the streets. Arian would have to rely on the streets to have his back. At the age of 17, he would stay with his close friend Kevin Perez at PNV Jay's house. Arian would become real close to Jay, learning how to write and make music during this time. But like previously mentioned, Arian would backdoor anyone to get what he did not have, even if they were his close friends. Him and his man Sticky would kick down Jay's door and steal his chain and a stack of cash.
Tell me why you don't like me, bro.
You's a big I don't care about you, nigga.
So stop fucking tagging me and mentioning me and shit. Stop having your mans. Bro, your man's Dougie stole $100 out my crib and my cousin beat him up. You know that, right? He didn't tell you that, right? Niggas don't speak on that.
With the amount of evidence, Arion and Sticky would be placed in the juvenile center. During this time, Kevin and Quayshawn, now going by their rap names K-Flock and Blove, would go on to start their musical careers. While being in custody, Arion would be given access to the web, seeing how his close friends K-Flock and Blove were starting to gain notoriety. As soon as he got released, they would inspire him to start making music of his own, with his first song No More Free Dougie B featuring K-Flock and Shot, currently standing at 7.2 million views today. Dougie would also go on to release Brotherly Love with his close friend K-Flock and Blove. This would skyrocket his career, gaining him a huge buzz and fan base. He would start releasing more music with other promising names from the Bronx going forward. Although on a come up, his rise was met with a lot of hate and envy. In 2021, it was reported that Dougie had been shot in the leg. He would not confirm this happening though, and was back getting sturdy in no time. At this time, most of his ops, like the Drillies, would post to their stories, go live or diss Dougie in their song Smoking His Leg.
Dougie almost died. He think he Jesus. He said Dougie died, came back to life. He think he Jesus.
What you smoking on? What you smoking on?
You know we smoking on Dougie.
Shortly after being shot, Dougie's Instagram account would be hacked.
Lick it up.
Damn, he hacked his account. He hacked. This is the hacker.
But he would bounce back and create a new one, gain many followers back fast. Around this time, his gang was really starting to put out numbers, with his close friend K-Flock dropping his breakout Single As You're Ready, currently sitting at 92 million views, and rappers like C Blue, Set the Trend, Nas, EBK, and Chi Watts were all taking off with their music. In this summer, Dougie would appear on major songs with his clique, including EOS with Yagi B and Set the Trend, and Turnt with his close childhood friend B Love, proving he really had what it takes to become a generational talent. Subsequently, after the big summer of 2021, Dougie would repent and stop appearing on as many tracks as he was previously falling back on rapping. However, in October, shortly after he announced that he would be signed to Republic Records, Republic is one of the leading labels with many superstars in it like Drake, Post Malone, and Nicki Minaj. After all this success, Dougie would start to feel it again after his close friend K-Flock would be caught up in a murder, and in a fully designer fit that he showed previously that day, along with a gun making it easy for NYPD to identify him, K would turn himself in. This would be a big loss for DOA, considering K-Flock was one of their main rappers in the gang, taking a toll on Dougie. During this time, he was not dropping music until on February 22nd. He would drop Forever on that, with fans claiming it has one of the best beats of all time in the New York drill scene, with Dougie bringing high energy and a powerful flow. The track went crazy, racking up millions of views, becoming his biggest solo song ever. Shortly after his success with Forever on that, Dougie would be arrested after being involved in a shots fired outside a courthouse. But luckily, Dougie would be released from police custody a couple days later. Turning April, Dougie would get the biggest buzz of his career, being featured on a track with his childhood homie, K-Flock, and rapper Cardi B called Shake It, with his label promoting it heavily, racking up tens of millions of views and streams as it dropped, taking over social media, with the sound blowing up on TikTok. With his huge success from Forever On and Shake It, it was looking like Dougie was gonna go mainstream and take over the scene. But unfortunately, Dougie would be inconsistent with his music releases in 2022. But we can't skip over the fact that Dougie was still popping pills and smoking weed heavily during this time, even claiming he was spending hundreds a day on drugs.
What do you think you spend on weed, realistically?
Yo, every day?
Yeah.
Over 300.
Damn, nigga. You know how much you spend in a week?
2100.
This was sadly one of the contributing factors to Dougie's inconsistency in his musical career. During this year, Dougie would also be dating the rapper Asian Doll. Asian would go on to tell Dougie about a rumor that Nas allegedly told her behind his back, leading to them falling out, crossing each other out, and taking shots at each other on their stories. Dougie would escalate things in the feud, even stating he is smoking Nas's grandmother, and Nas responding saying he is smoking on Dougie's father, along with referring to Dougie as Druggie B for his addiction that was causing him to spaz out. But subsequently, after this beef, they were seen on stage performing together, likely meaning they were at minimum getting along better. Following this, in late 2022, Dougie would go on to drop his debut album, Nobody Bigger, in November. Although he did not drop much, his fans took the album well and liked most of the music. Following the drop of his album, Dougie would be silent till March. Around this time in the early months of 2023, the group called The Sweepers, with artists like Stock Go, Nas GBG, J Hound, and J5 would emerge and blow up quickly, mainly off a song called Sev Side K, dissing Dougie B's block. In March, Dougie B would return, dropping a snippet, dissing the Sweepers back heavily. The snippet would later be published as the song OA, featuring Yagi B and Joe Bands using the Dark Jersey Club sound that the Sweepers had blown up off of and used to diss them back, currently sitting at 8.1 million views today. Although the crazy success Dougie was receiving, he would be absent, only roping 2 other songs that year and not capitalizing on the buzz he created with OA. But to make things worse, Dougie would be arrested in May on unknown charges, and then in July he would be arrested again, but this time charged with burglary. In September, we would see Dougie again appearing on a Booba 100 video where it was clear he was going through a lot in life, including drug addiction with perks and other pills, alcohol addiction, weed addiction, and codeine addiction. Following these arrests, Dougie would be thrown back into police custody in November, only adding to his poor record he already had. Around this time, K-Flock would unfollow Dougie B, with some speculating it was due to the cryptic post Dougie put out of him holding a lot of pills, hinting at an overdose, only adding to his suicidal thoughts during this time. Following this, he would appear in an interview looking in rough shape, extremely high, stating him and K are still close friends and talk to each other's moms. Many of the comments from fans were prayers wishing Dougie to get better, soon seeing him in this state battling his inner demons. Following this, in recent times, Dougie would state he is trying to better his life multiple times, saying he is going sober and going into rehab. Unfortunately, this was far from the case, with him dropping less and less music and being seen off perks in public. It was clear Dougie had not changed and was going down a dark path. After this, Dougie went viral on the internet for taking a picture, with a fan staring at the money he was flexing, with the "Gimme My Money" meme going viral around this time. But it wasn't all laughs and giggles after the fan claimed that Dougie had robbed him and had taken his money. Rappers would also charm him, most notably D Thang saying, "Let's push the peace," and trying to help Dougie get better, even though they are ops.
The peace. What you tell me all the time?
Let's do an event.
D Thang would later go on to diss Dougie in a song retracting this statement. Following these events, he would be absent until he dropped his Doomsday freestyle with fans saying Dougie is back. During 2024, it is also noted that Dougie was not making good music at all with a bad engineer, and this being the first song that he was considered to do good on following his bad run. Following this would be the last we see of Dougie for reasons that were unknown at the time. But following up to the current date, Dougie is facing 25 years in prison for a pair of disturbingly violent robberies. Dougie, along with 5 other goons, ambushed a 33-year-old dad and his 5-year-old son inside an apartment in Belmont neighborhood on August 27th, according to a Bronx criminal court complaint. Afterwards, Dougie would go on to block the dad and his child from escaping the road, with another suspect flashing a gun at the dad, stealing his phone, and draining $2,500 off of cash accounts. Going on to September, Dougie would take money from a victim at knife point. Following this, Dougie B would be busted and would face 25 years in jail. During this time, it would also be alleged that Dougie B has stolen the 16-year-old's fans' money. However, the police did not confirm.